Hey, your viewers and viewers, my name is General Red Strategist, and welcome back to Say Being Hunted, episode 694 now, I do believe, ladies and gents. So, we are here on a different island, actually on our current map and all that, because we're doing another podcast-style episode. I just fancied doing one. I've had a big recording session today, recorded about 3 episodes of Chaser, another episode of Commandos Beyond the Call of Duty so far. Thinking about recording some more of, Commandos that is, and maybe some Chaser. Again, a bit later in the day if time permits. We'll see how that goes. But, no, basically, yeah, I just figured I kind of need to get a bit of Sir recorded as well and all that. Given that at the moment I think I have only 1 or 2 episodes in the current queue on YouTube. Maybe just one. Dad, no. We'll see. I'm probably misremembering that entirely. But hey, recording another quick little sort of filler Sir episode and all that doesn't hurt at all, does it, ladies and gentlemen? Now, I wanted to do another podcast-style episode because I actually wanted to talk about something which I sort of discovered recently on YouTube, which was actually really pleasant to actually watch. So, I've talked obviously a lot before about my YouTube viewing habits, I guess you could say, in terms of, whenever I find something new, something interesting that I look at and I think, I could probably watch more of that. Or, I found an interesting new channel or whatever. Something that I could say, you viewers should go and check this out because it's really, really cool. Or, if not that, just something that, I don't know, has kind of scratched a certain itch for me or something. An itch that I didn't realise I had. So most recently, actually, on YouTube, I was recommended a video, kind of out of the blue. I don't really know why YouTube chose to recommend this to me, but I'm kind of glad that it did, because it was actually quite interesting. But basically, it was from a channel I think was called Eric's Hobby Workshop. Some of you may have heard of it before. But basically, the guy who runs it, I guess his name is Eric. I imagine he basically loves making things like, models for tabletop games or dioramas, things like that. Miniature scale dioramas for things like wargaming or, I don't know, like Warhammer or other tabletop stuff. And recently YouTube actually recommended me one of his videos for the first time. And it was, I forget the exact title, but it was basically him making a diorama of a Victorian slum for use in a Victorian-themed tabletop role-playing game, something like that. I can't remember the name of the game exactly, but I think if you just search it on YouTube, Eric's Hobby Workshop, Victorian slum, something like that, you will likely find the video in question that I'm talking about. And it was just really interesting because, he really got very, very creative in the materials he used and the techniques he used for actually putting together this diorama. And it ended, the finished product actually looked really, really damn cool. I really enjoyed watching it and just thought it looked really creative. Because the thing is, like, dioramas, sort of miniature recreations of sort of, how should I say, miniature recreations of scenes, say like, Victorian slums or whatever the hell you're designing. They are interesting to look at, because the thing is, when I think about, for example, like museums that I've visited in the past, so, for example, if I think about the Maritime Museum in Liverpool that I visited over the summer with family, that was a really, really good trip. And I obviously talked about it, I think, in a previous Sir episode. And what I obviously really liked about that was, for example, the Lusitania exhibition, where you go up to one of the upper floors and there is just this fantastic exhibit, all to do with, like I say, the Lusitania, the ship that was torpedoed in World War One. And, in 1917, obviously, and that nominally brought the Americans into World War One and all that. And, there was a bit of footage that I showed in that episode of this real big, like, diorama model in a big display case of the Lusitania itself. And obviously this speaks to the maritime enthusiast in me, because I freaking love all things to do with the sea. and the nautical and all that. But apart from obviously that model, there was another exhibition in the Liverpool Maritime Museum that was just about the merchant navy more generally, and that had a ton of little ship models, which was really awesome. Just really well-made models of merchant and naval vessels and RFA vessels, that kind of thing. And that really scratches an itch on my part, because I could freaking look at models of ships for probably hours on end and not get bored of it. And the thing is, it's not just model ships, it is also dioramas of, for example, land-based locations as well. So I remember, for example, have you ever had this where you go to a railway museum or something? Usually, a lot of railway museums always, well, I say always, usually I should say, they usually have a display case somewhere in there, maybe in a corner or just a room, sort of off the side of the main exhibits, where probably they'll have a model railway with a little train chugging around it. And the thing is, sometimes the little dioramas they make around those model railways are really adorable and really detailed. And there's just something about them that I can look at for ages and just gaze upon them and really enjoy them. I'm not actually doing anything with it, but it's just really, really nice and fun to behold and all that. I'm sure, you guys have encountered that kind of thing before. I think I remember one possibly in the National Railway Museum in York, when me and Phil visited quite a number of years ago. I'm sure there was one in there. So there's that. But there's just other dioramas I can remember from various, for example, museums that I've been to. So I think, for example, back when I was living up north, not far from the city of Preston, where you have the Harris Museum, pretty sure in their exhibition all about the history of Preston, they have, or did have at one point, this big diorama in a display case, a 3D model, miniature model of what I think used to be, was it Courtaulds? This old factory complex that was once in Preston. I think it was Courtaulds, but I'm not sure. It could have been, or it could have been a different company entirely. But the important thing is, they at one time had this really big miniature diorama. That sounds contradictory, big miniature. What I mean is, it was a miniature diorama, but the display case it was in was huge. It was like a big sprawling diorama of lots of miniature buildings assembled to make this big factory compound, sort of late Victorian, early Edwardian design. Obviously imitating a real life location that had once existed in Preston. And I really enjoyed looking at that as well. So I think it had labels in front of it, little numbers in front of some of the buildings, so you could sort of tell, oh, this was where such and such a workshop was once located, or this is where such and such a warehouse once existed, something like that. So that's another one that I do remember. But yeah, there's something about dioramas that kind of does interest me, I would say. And so getting that Eric's Hobby Workshop video, where he was kind of putting together this Victorian slum, was really, really interesting. I watched the whole thing. I just found it very pleasant viewing. So I'm probably going to watch more stuff on the Eric's Hobby Workshop channel and all that, because I'm sure he's probably got loads of other interesting stuff on there. So I think most of his videos, as far as I can tell, are more sort of I don't know, making models for Warhammer, something like that, which, obviously, Warhammer is something that I was about to say I'm not into, but it's not so much that I'm not into it, it's just that I've never really thought about it. Because the thing is, I'm not a tabletop sort of gamer. I've never really done that kind of thing before, but I know a lot of people obviously do like Warhammer. And I suppose, if you just enjoy things like making and painting models, then I suppose Warhammer actually does appeal to you, even if you don't actually play the game itself. Because the thing is, you look at some of the models that you can buy from Warhammer shops, or the little space marines and their tanks and aircraft and all that. Some of them are really detailed, and they are kind of impressive. It was actually reminding me as well recently of the nearest Hobbycraft store to where I am. I was once in there not too long ago, and obviously they have, a 3D modelers section where they have all kinds of things, like Airfix, Tamiya, usually things like little model cars or World War II vehicles, aircraft, that kind of thing that you can buy. Interestingly, they had a few Thunderbirds ones as well, which is kind of cool, like Thunderbird 2 from the original 1960s TV show. The thing is, there's a part of me that's thought about, what it'd be like to get into 3D modelling. It'd be kind of cool. I need the space to put things. But the thing is, I recently bought and assembled a IKEA Billy bookcase. It's quite a big one. Sat here actually in my study right now. I say not sat here, stood here in my study. I just need to get some display cabinet doors mounted on it, and then it'll be good to go. And I'm thinking, depending on how much space I take up, because I want to move some stuff onto it. I want to move my, things like my anime DVDs and manga onto it first. And then obviously I've got my Kaide Akamatsu figurine, which if you watch my Danganronpa S series, you might remember I mentioned in a video that I'd bought, imported from Japan. Yes, if Phil is watching this, he's going to be like, oh, Andrew, have you just taken another step towards becoming a complete weeaboo? No, it's just the one figurine, don't you worry. But I need to put that on there at some point. And but once I've got all that on, there'll probably be a lot of space left. So I could probably, I don't know, maybe get into a bit of 3D modelling and all that. The only thing, obviously, with 3D modelling of things like Tamiya and Airfix and stuff like that is they're usually quite small and fiddly. There's a lot of painting that you have to do as well. So you have to obviously get like glues and model paints, whatever else have you. But I'm sure, there's plenty of web resources that can teach you about that kind of thing, so you learn about it. And, since I've mentioned it, I might as well talk about my Kaide Akamatsu figurine that I have. It's currently sat in my study on the floor just by the radiator in its box. Because the thing is, I had taken it out at one point, but the problem is, it's a really good figure. I really like it. It's really detailed. But the problem is, when it arrived, the moment I took it out of the box, I noticed it was already broken. Not majorly, but if I remember to, I'll try and put a image on the screen of the figurine in question. About now. If you've watched my Danganronpa S videos, you will know this story already, because I've encountered it on there. But in essence, basically, when it arrived, this particular figurine, if you've seen pictures of it, it has all like these music sheets that sort of are positioned to look like they're kind of fluttering around the character. And one of them, unfortunately, before I'd even taken it out of the box, it was already damaged. Either during shipping or the moment it was boxed up in the factory, I don't know. One or the other. And basically one of those little sets of music sheets is actually broken in half, which is not too bad, because the sheets themselves are intact, it's just the join between a couple of them where they've snapped. And theoretically I could repair that, because I have bought myself some bits and bobs to do so. Basically, I bought myself a set of tweezers so I can hold things carefully in position. And I've bought myself some Gorilla Glue, like clear glue. It's like fast-acting adhesive. Problem is, I don't know. Because the thing is, there's lots of different opinions online about what sort of glue you should use if you're trying to repair like PVC anime figures. And some people disagree. And I've seen some sources that say Gorilla Glue might not be suitable, but others that say it's fine. But I don't know. I mean, most of the advice I've seen is that if you're going to use glue on any sort of anime figurine, you should aim for clear glue, and you should also get plenty of equipment to do it. You shouldn't just apply the glue directly to the figure. So what I've done is I've bought some paper plates, some bamboo skewers, and the plan is that when I eventually get around to doing it, what I'm going to try doing is, if I get basically a paper plate out, squeeze a little tiny glob of glue onto the paper plate, then get one of the bamboo skewers, get a little bit of glue on the end of it from the paper plate, and then apply it gently onto the figure, the bit that needs fixing, and then use a set of tweezers to sort of like hold the bits together so that they rejoin. because every piece of advice I've seen online says don't just try to apply glue directly to an anime figure, because you won't need much of it. But the thing is, it's not just the music sheets on my Kaide figurine that technically are broken, it's also one of her shoelaces, which is really annoying because it's like a really tiny part. But again, if I was to fix that into place back on the figure, I would need a set of tweezers, or rather I'd need to use a set of tweezers to actually hold it, and then do the same with the glue. Squeeze a little tiny glob out onto a paper plate, and then use a bamboo skewer with a very fine tipped point to just get a little bit of that glue and just apply it. Because again, Gorilla Glue, as far as I'm aware, is, it's strong stuff. But the only thing now I've seen with freaking Gorilla Glue, people online all saying, oh, you should only use it, in well-ventilated spaces and stuff like this. So I'm like, oh, shoot. I mean, the thing is, like, the one I've got was just a type of glue that literally was in a supermarket aisle by one of the tills. Not like a proper sort of thing that you get in, like, B&Q or a proper DIY store, something like that. It's literally just like a easy, small little squeeze tube. So I'm guessing it's not one of their more super powerful glues that probably you need to use, like, eye and hand protection for. Though, to be honest, I probably will try and get some gloves and maybe wear a mask when I do apply it, and just make sure the windows are all open. Probably do it near a window, in fact. Maybe get hold of some, I don't know, I just wonder if I get some, like, little sheeting that I could put over my little coffee table before I start doing anything. Just to, protect it in case I get glue. Just drop glue anywhere. But these are all things to think about, basically. I'll have to see, I'll keep looking at advice online before I actually commit to trying to fix it myself. Though having said that, I do know that in Swindon there is actually, I think, a Warhammer store in the centre of town. I think. Possibly at the Brunel Centre. So next time I travel up into Swindon Centre, maybe it'll be worth me actually stopping by there, because I'm sure the people who run that store, they probably could give me advice on that. Suitable types of glue for use with PVC figures, things like that. Actually, I should do that. They probably would know how to do it, and they could probably give me advice. Okay, you know what, I should probably do that. I should make a mental note. That is actually a really good idea. Yes. But yeah, that's about my Kaide Akamatsu figure. But the thing is, like, apart from those two tiny little things, the figure is fine, for the most part. It looks really good. I just want to fix it, that's all. Get it back in one piece. And just try and, do a repair job that doesn't look like total dog shit. But yes. I'm kind of glad, because that Kaide figurine, I'd seen it online and I'd been oohing and ahhing for quite a few months about whether to buy it. I was like, I don't know, I don't feel like I've got anywhere to put it. But then I thought, you know what, why not buy a bookshelf and move a few things around in my little study/office room here in my flat. So I did. Got that bookcase and now I have loads of space. So I'm thinking, yeah. So eventually I bought it. I think I bought it in August, if I'm not mistaken. It took a few days to arrive because I think I had it sent out by airmail, if I remember correctly. I got it from Hobby Link Japan, ladies and gents, which is a good site if you ever want to import cool things from Japan. Not just anime things, but pretty much anything Japanese that takes your fancy. It's worth a look over there. But speaking of obviously like 3D modelling and diorama creation, another brand actually that I've become aware of this last few months, because last time I was back up north visiting friends and family, there's not too far from where my family live, there's this little town called Billsborough. And in Billsborough, I think I've talked about it before, there's this big sort of garden centre place known as Barton Grange. I mean, it's not just a garden centre, though it is primarily a garden centre. It also has a restaurant, a cafe, really nice restaurant, cafe, in fact. It also has a farm shop, a cookware shop, a gift shop, and then just across the way from it, there's the Flower Bowl, which is like a big sort of family entertainment centre. Has like a bowling alley, a curling rink, as well as other, little restaurant and refreshments and other amenities. But basically at Barton Grange, when I was last up north, it's nice, you know, just to have a morning out there or an afternoon out or something. So, you know, me and the old folks, we got in the car, drove over there, had a drink at the cafe, and then as we were looking around the gift shop, there was like a section in there that was all about like 3D modelling, things like that. And there's a couple of brands that I'd never really known of before, but which there were a few things, well, a few of their items being sold there. And now I might be able to get the brand names mixed up here, but one of them really kind of took my eye. I can't remember if the brand is Rolife or ROKR, but basically they do these really adorable little wooden modelling kit diorama scenes, usually of things like little shops or like little houses, greenhouses, that kind of thing. So really cute, really adorable, really colourful. And I was looking at them thinking, oh, they look really nice. I'd love to actually get my hands on a couple of those maybe and give them a shot. Because basically I believe, like I say, they are like little wooden modelling kits where you make a diorama. And I'm assuming all the parts you need are probably included in the box, I would guess. Possibly including things like, you know, glues or anything like that. And I think, I don't know though if it's, I don't know if it's pre-painted. I'm assuming they're pre-painted, so you don't need to do anything like that. You just need to basically get all the parts out and stick them together, I think. But irrespective, I don't know, they just look really adorable. And I sort of look at them and thinking, maybe one day, give them a shot. I suppose it's also, you know, one of the reasons why, as an adult, sometimes I like going down to Smith's Toy Superstore as well and just buying Lego sets. Because Lego actually speaks to that same fucking itch, scratches that same itch. It's just, you know, making a nice, here's a model of a house. Here's a friggin' nice screen parlour or something. Yeah, so I suppose actually, you know, probably my sort of growing interest in 3D modelling probably comes from when I was a kid, mainly, playing with Lego, and now as an adult, just getting more and more into it, especially since, you know, seeing those friggin' little wooden diorama modelling kits at Barton Grange and then getting that Eric's Hobby Workshop video recommended to me. It's good stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Oh. Right, I think I'm going to head back over to the jetty because looking at time, I think that'll probably do for an episode. So, oh, yeah, if I can get out of there. Okay, let me out. There we are. Okay. Back over here. I need to actually work out what I'm going to eat for my evening meal tonight. I think I have an idea. Got myself some tagine. It's like a 3-bean, 3-bean tagine. Could do it with some rice or something. It'd be very delicious. Right, well, in that case, I'll start wrapping this episode up here. So, social media links, propagandist channel link, all that jazz can be found in the video description, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoyed, a like is, of course, always appreciated. But other than that, one other thing I will say, obviously episode 700 is closing in on us. And I have sent out a update on the community tab mentioning that and saying that I'm going to be doing a Q&A. So I'm going to be hoping to get Phil and Connor involved in that. In which case, if you want to leave some questions, do start commenting down below. In which case, you know, if you do have questions, just make sure in your comment you specify, here's some questions for the Q&A or something like that, just so I know and I don't preemptively answer them by mistake. Alright, well than that, yeah, I'll see you next time, ladies and gentlemen, for So You're Being Hunted. I hope you enjoyed this rather more sedate episode. Goodbye, everybody. Just keep going along here. Oh, hi. You look interesting, don't you? Found the highway of strange things. Just taking one. I just fat shame strange thing monster. Feels like I did. Big. You're straight up looking, aren't you? I was thinking they're changing at some point. Are they changing? I can't really tell. Just go back. Are they okay? are changing. It's saying so. Right, let's go back. Just keep going forward. Just have to commit